Hello and welcome to your reading, water signs. This is going to be a pick a card for all water signs here, and I have a little interesting way I'm doing this to where I'm not setting any intention on which reading is for which sign. I kind of want to leave that up to you guys to interpret, to give you guys some freedom of just interpretation, intuition, and to kind of relieve some pressure of like having to listen to like one specific reading because it is your sun sign or whatever it may be. If you want to discuss in the comments whether you feel like one group is more a particular sign than another, feel free to do that, but there's no intention, no label on these three groups, so definitely just pick what calls to you. We have the Crystal Visions Tarot here, Tarot of the Divine, and the Star Tarot. And the cards that I'm going to be picking from for each group is going to be from the Sacred Geometry Oracle. Now, let's get started here. Always reminder to take what resonates, leave what doesn't, all that good stuff. Let me have some of my coffee here. Very tasty. All right, let's get a clear, honest signifier for group one. What do they need to know or see so they know that that group is for them? For group one. You got the Flower of Life, which I believe this has no reversed meaning, so it is number 36 if you're interested in the numerology at all. So we have the Flower of Life in the Crystal Visions Tarot for group one here. Oh, sorry if it gets like really bright here. I know the camera can get all sorts of funky. All right. Group two. What do they need to see, need to know so that they know group two is for them? What card do they need to see, need to know so they know group two is for them? Oh, you got two. We have Transmutation in reverse and Hexagon, which, holy shit, you have, excuse my French, but this is number 44 and 43 together. So, very, very intriguing and very interesting there. Alrighty. For group three, the Star Tarot. What does group three need to know so they know the reading is for them? Oh, and number 45, wow. We have number 45 in reverse, which is Steam Cave. Steam Cave. Here, there we go. That is really, really interesting. 43, 44, and 45. I feel like some of you may resonate not just with both of these readings, but I feel like it could kind of tell a story. Like this is sort of the beginning, middle, and then group three would be like the finality of it, or the finale. I was trying to say both of those words at the same time. But I'm going to leave you to decide which card and group you think is best. And also, I just noticed that these both have the same hexagon background, and this kind of is in the shape of a hexagon. Interesting. Like I said, choose whatever you feel is best, but sometimes if you want to watch all three readings, sometimes you can get a message out of all three readings. But it could just be in different parts of your life. So have discernment listening to all the readings. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you guys to choose which reading that you would like to pick. All right, group 1, you picked The Flower of Life, number 36. Now I'm going to kind of give my own interpretation before I read from the book. And I believe, let me just double check, because some of these cards mention that in the book they have no reversed meaning. There's no reverse aspect for the Flower of Life. Okay. So with this, I feel like I'm going to be very, very like careful about how I word this, because I feel like a lot of this energy is more or less how you've been feeling about not necessarily just your own success, but the abundance of success. And I feel like it's a bit tricky to tackle currently because you're really trying your best to push forward and consistently achieve goals like one after another. And it's almost at this sort of like stalemate of I feel like this showed up in reverse before, because it's almost like, is this where the abundance stops? Is this where it just stagnates? Like, is this where we're just basically done here? We've not necessarily completed every goal, but completed most goals. So is this it? Is kind of what you're feeling. And the universe is kind of like in this weird dichotomy of like wanting you to experience the stagnancy so you understand that there is always ebb and flow, and even with success and abundance. And I feel like there's a lot that you have explored and just even endured to like the effort of putting in the work towards certain things. So I'm very curious to dive in deeper to what this could mean for you guys, but at the same time, there's never a moment where you should feel like you should give up on your dreams, give up on your passions, give up on your goals. And I don't think you're necessarily giving up. I feel like you're kind of wondering, is this the highest peak of what I can reach? And this is where I feel like discipline gets involved with the level of abundance that's kind of showing out here. But let's read what the book has to say. Ooh, language of silence, language of light, flower of life. This pattern called the Flower of Life is one of the most universal pieces of sacred geometry available to us. This figure is found flash-burned into granite walls on the Osiran, the Temple of Resurrection, in Abydos, Egypt. Also found in more than 18 countries around the globe, from Turkey to Tibet, from China to Yucatan, the Flower of Life has imprinted its wisdom upon humankind. It represents a a lattice of pure life force containing our cellular memory, and it becomes the matrix of all matter. You are asked to imagine this pattern existing in a three-dimensional holographic image made up of 19 interlocking spheres. You may even wish to draw this beautiful shape using a compass. One radius creates this amazing glyph. The first, draw a circle. Add a second using any point on the circumference of the first as the center. Continue drawing circles using each intersection as a center until you create a figure that looks like the one on the card. The Flower of Life is a Akashic information system, meaning it contains records of all that was, all that is, and all that will be. The message it offers are both intimately personal and universal. Open your awareness to the knowledge contained herein and listen to the responses you receive. Trust that what comes to you is of the light and meant to be of assistance in achieving your highest good. As the blueprint for all creation, the Flower of Life will always have something new to teach you. I feel like we're getting into discipline. And I think this is kind of like you've reached the highest point in sort of your success, your abundance that you can reach with the discipline that you're currently working with. Now, I'm not talking to people who are like super disciplined and very adamant about like their routine, their schedule, getting things done on time. If you have things in your life that you are already very disciplined on, like externally, this could be a time to look internally. If you are vice versa, you have everything disciplined very internally, like you have a lot of hard conversations with yourself, you're constantly doing shadow work, you're constantly trying to, reevaluate is the word, all different experiences, learn new things internally. Maybe this is time to get more disciplined externally. Now, whatever it is for you, this is going to be a big lesson in like, hey, it almost feels like this is the responsibility of being an adult, and there's a big message of like you would not be able to, I'm trying to remember the phrase, the like cliche phrase that some people say. What's the cliche like religious phrase of God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. Basically, it's what I'm trying to say of like, the universe wouldn't have given this to you if they didn't think that you could handle it, is I guess the more spiritual way to say it. But also, it's not just the universe. I feel like this is a version of you in the future that's kind of coming in here in this space being like, look at all of the things that we can do internally or externally. Look at all that we can accomplish on this different plane of understanding. And I say different plane of understanding in reference to if it's something you need to work on your external life or your internal life, like whatever it is to you. And I feel like we're going to get heavy into what's blocking you, because something here has to do with discipline. And sometimes I completely understand of like, it's hard to get going, or it's hard to really look within and do, not necessarily just do the work, but it's hard to really get started sometimes on things that we're not fully used to. And I feel like for some of you, you may get into this feeling of like, well, this isn't me, like this isn't necessarily what I want to do, I don't feel like myself. And I feel like there's always a message to remind ourselves that we're always constantly evolving. So even if you're starting to not really feel like yourself, kind of think back to where you were like 10 years ago. Or even if like 16-year-old you would wonder where you're at now, I think they'd still be very proud of the work that you've been doing. And if you were to tell them, yeah, I'm trying to be disciplined to do better, whether it's internally, externally, your younger self, 16-year-old you, would be like, that's so cool, like you've done all of this work and you still haven't stopped like striving to be better, like that's so cool. And I feel like you need to kind of like almost use this geometry to kind of access that information, that like Akashic level information of like, hey, parts of you are genuinely like super fucking proud. And I feel like this is going to be an abundance of personal knowledge as well, when we really get into it, because a lot of this that I feel like is playing out for you is very, very extra, and I want to say extraordinary. Like there's a lot of extraordinary energy, because I feel like you're almost seeing yourself in this very extraordinary like sort of view or vision, really, if it's just you picturing yourself in the future of like what you could possibly be. And I feel like you need to just remind yourself of whatever it takes, looking within or being more disciplined externally. Like it takes a lot of effort, but that doesn't mean it should scare you, and it's not to scare you. It's to be like, hey, this is all of the cool stuff that we can create and tap into when we really do the work. And I feel like a lot of this is just worrying about it day by day and trying your best day by day to stay committed here, because I feel like you're really truly committed, but it kind of just takes a really big reframing of like, this isn't your like it's almost like this isn't your peak moment, this isn't your peak time, because it's almost asking, well, like, when do we really peak in life? I feel like there isn't really like a highest point in our life. I almost feel like this is seeing things as there's tons of highs and lows, and some may feel like they're at their highest like feeling, some may feel at their lowest feeling, but there isn't ever a single moment that I feel like defines a person's life because they peaked at a certain moment. I feel like if people really think that way, they're kind of setting themselves up for failure and disappointment, because like if like it's always the phrase of no one ever liked anyone who peaked in high school. And regardless if that was you or not, if you felt that way, we were all teenagers, it's fine. Because I feel like some people are really unlearning that, like, well, if I peaked in high school or I peaked in college, I'm disappointing myself for the rest of my life, when in reality life is not really like that. It's not that sort of, oh, we peak when we're younger. There's a lot of people who gain success when they're in their 60s or 70s, and it's to say to not give up. To not give up in the sense of like, you never know what could be a good moment, and it doesn't have to be the best of the best of the best. But when we're really tapping into this knowledge within ourselves, it allows us room to understand, hey, there's a lot of good moments to enjoy, and a lot of good moments that we can enjoy if we get very disciplined about this thing. Because I feel like some of you are very much tackling your mental health in a whole new self-awareness than ever before. And I feel like some of you are really trying to get educated on your mental health, whatever it may be. And if you're trying like new medicine, I'm not a doctor, but listen, if you're finding things that work for you and you're being happy, healthy, and you're not hurting yourself or anyone else around you, don't care what you do. Don't care what you do. Like if you find out you want to be a furry and that's been very healing for you, is being a furry, go for it, man. Just, if you're on the weird side of being a furry, keep it to yourself. Stay in those circles. I'm so kidding. But let's get into your reading here. I think we're going to really discuss what this discipline really is all about for you. So what does group 1 need to hear? Yeah, you've been really tackling your emotions on something. And here's the discipline card. The Hierophant is all about commitment, and we have to be very disciplined to stay committed to our work. But with the 10 of Cups, the Hierophant, and the 5 of Pentacles reversed, you have fully opened up your heart to yourself and been honest of like, if this is what we want to grow, if this is the happiness we want to maintain, there is work that needs to be done in order to maintain it. And when I said in order, it almost like there is an order to this. Like this thing has order. There's really no clear way you need to start the flower of life, but there is order to this flower of life that essentially the way that it works is if you try and see one circle here, you will see that this second circle right here, let me see if I can find something small to kind of point with. This will work. Or how about an incense stick? That's very fitting. I needed something like kind of thin here. Let's do like the end right here. So we see the main circle right here, correct? We see that. Doesn't matter which circle we start with, but let's just say we see this one. We start with one circle. In the order I was saying to draw at the center of this main circle here is the edge of another. There is an order to how these are placed, but it doesn't really matter where you start here. I feel like this is the key factor, and I feel like this is where it's really opening your eyes up to a lot of possibility with how you function in this area of discipline. And also how you don't function, because sometimes with the Five of Pentacles, it's like kind of coming out of this stagnancy in the sense of I feel like you have this sort of mentality, like most people, it's just kind of in our human nature. It's really hard to make like very, very drastic change, and change that we're not entirely used to. So I feel like this is where you're really trying to work out, why is this so hard for me to do? Why is this simple step so hard for me to get started on? What about me is holding me back, and why is it holding you back? And sometimes the simple answer is to just get started on something, but at the same time I feel like you struggle with the getting started in a way that's like, I know it's either ADD or ADHD that like we need to be motivated to do something in order to actually get it done. But I feel like the big thing that has helped most people is when they do something, I want to say, that is similar to like exercise. A lot of people get into the habit of exercising because there's a point where like, damn, this sucks and I hate how I have to fucking keep going to this thing every day, or keep going to this gym or do this every day. But then they reach a point where they actually enjoy the endorphins that is released in the brain when you exercise. They actually really truly enjoy that feeling. And I think that's something you got to do, whether it's like a puzzle or like physical exercise, mental or physical exercise. Use that as kind of the thing to get you like in this sort of gears of motivation going. And sometimes I feel like, do not worry about the end result, just worry about getting started. Do not worry about step 100 or how you're going to feel after you do a workout or a mental exercise. It's this just getting started thing that's like, just worry about getting started. If you're going to let yourself worry about anything, worry about getting started and find your rhythm. Everyone has a different rhythm, and I very much in this sort of space of I genuinely need like sleep to the point where if I need to wake up early, I have to get to bed early. And I'm talking like 9 p.m. early, like maybe even 8 p.m. early. And I'm 26 years old. So if I know I'm going to get to bed late, then I'm not waking up till probably around 9-10 in the morning. But as this is my full-time thing, I kind of have the freedom to do that. But the work doesn't stop until like late in the night. So I feel like there's almost this energy of finding your rhythm is the most important thing here. And I feel like if there's an order to something already, like with whatever 9 to 5 that you do, whatever other commitments that you're a part of, they can work within this order, but just little by little, you're gonna have to figure out how to compromise your time is something of what I'm kind of feeling here. 5 of Swords. the Empress reversed, and Ace of Swords. See, this is really, really intriguing here. You really feel very down about how sometimes it's really hard to get started, it's really hard to plant those seeds, but right when those seeds are growing, you feel so fulfilled that it pushes you forward to work even harder. And I think this is something that you're trying to figure out and understand in order to really regain this new sense of self, this new sense of, hey, this is how we can actually flourish forward. Because being able to acknowledge, I don't feel good that I'm not good about starting things, is a step in the right direction. And I feel like this is acknowledging the fact that right when you feel down about something is right when your ideas start sparking into something new, something more evolved. And I also feel like if you still have that feeling of you're losing parts of yourself, you're not. You are continuously evolving. And if it's sort of creating almost like this new personality for you that you're afraid of being looked at as like some type of person on the outside, I feel like this is something where it not necessarily just doesn't matter what other people think, but it's also not really, it's like not their business. It's not for them to really know about, because this is something that you're working on and working towards. And let's just say, like, you can tell people, you know, I still want to do these things. I still want to, like, be able to enjoy myself in these ways, but I'm gonna have to be more disciplined about it, and that's okay, because this is what I need to do. And sometimes we just have to communicate that to people, and also not just communicate that to other people, but communicate that to ourselves. Like, we are gonna be okay while we change, while we evolve. It's not necessarily fully the end of the world here. And I feel like this is where you really start moving forward here. The Chariot, the Death card. What did I say? Moving forward, and not just moving forward with confidence. Moving forward with, we have to let things go. We have to let the ashes of the old soak into the soil of the new and create a more fruitful ground to grow upon. And not just build upon, grow upon. So we have the Chariot, Death, Nine of Wands reversed, Queen of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like you're gonna partially stop feeling sorry for yourself. Ooh, Six of Wands here. Interesting. You want to stop feeling sorry for yourself, but that's where it's like, not even feel sorry for yourself. You want to stop maybe even just beating yourself up over like the little things about stuff. And also, with this Knight of Pentacles, there's always this hesitancy with this getting started, and while we're recognizing this and trying to reconcile with ourselves about it, there's always a spark in someone's life that just helps people get started, that just helps people not necessarily endure what they have to do, but feel good about doing the work. Because this is work for you. You're moving forward for yourself. And feeling bad at the times where you couldn't get started in the past does not reflect on what needs to be done now, and the spark of fire that is needed right now here, especially with the Six of Wands out. You really recognize how powerful you can be, but you have to be able to know how your, not only your chariot functions, but how your order works, how your rhythm works, in order to really transform yourself into somebody that I feel like you've always wanted to be, but tried and tried and tried and tried in the past, and it just like didn't work out, or there wasn't enough effort put in. Because it does not make you unsuccessful or a bad person for trying to be better and failing, or at least just not getting there. You're not failing, you're not there at that moment in time. But the more effort we keep putting in, the more that we can sort of enjoy that we're going to get there within time. And I also know that, like, if you really, really struggle with getting started, remember how future you is going to feel. Bring future you into this, and then also bring past you into this. And this is almost sort of using the Akashic knowledge and information system that the flower life holds as a tool, and almost there's like a synergizing energy here with like past, future, and present self, and using the past and the future selves, um, uniting them, bringing them together in order to really push forward in what you feel like is meant for you. And I feel like the Empress reversed here is only reversed because you feel stagnant. But that doesn't mean that you failed. There's always a time to try again. I feel like the moment that you inherently fail at whatever this is, you are essentially giving up entirely. And let's say that you had said that, right? Like, I give up on this thing, and then you find yourself back at it again. Obviously, you didn't really give up, did you? If you give up and you're adamant on, like, I'm not doing anything, I'm tired of this, grandpa, like, I am completely done with this, that's when you've lost. But you haven't done that. You haven't done that. And also, being able to really tackle your emotions here, because I feel like the Queen of Cups wants to be very expressive with their emotions, but they're very quiet right now. But sitting with the silence helps you conjure up not only the spark again, but this recognition in the self that you can actually do this. Like, this is very possible for you. And if you are really scared of, like, well, what if I can't handle it? What if I become really grumpy? What if I do this? What if I do that? Give it a week. And then after that week, give it another week. Give it at least a month. And if you really want to wait to see some change, give it 3 months. 3 months can really just show how much of a difference the hard work can make. And if you have people that are going to be supportive, maybe even telling them, hey, like, because I feel like you have a good support team over here with the 10 of Cups. If you have people that support you, friends, family, significant others, definitely tell them, hey, I need you to, like, remind me to break out of this cycle, break out of this lack, out of the stagnancy. I need you to help me, you know, quiet my mind and find that inner strength to move forward, to transform myself into something new. And you don't leave these old things behind. These old things collect as memories in this Akashic information system of the flower of life, and just you take all of these old parts of you with you at the end of the day. So definitely feel what you need to feel about it, but don't run from the feeling like, oh, we can't do this, we can't pursue this, we can't put in this effort because we failed before, or we're just going to fail again, or we struggled to get started. Okay, that was in the past. That doesn't necessarily define everything that you do now. It will probably even, like, if you think it's going to define you, it's probably going to show an act of resilience. The fact that you tried and you still kept going to figure out what worked for you. And it's not always easy. It's really not. So don't allow the fear of not being successful stop you from just trying to be successful. And I think that's the simplest point to kind of make here, but the thing is, you're really, really recognizing patterns that you're breaking. And at least you're trying to break. You're trying not to be as stagnant. But sometimes we need to kind of take it slow. And I feel like some of you are trying to break out of the old just human nature habit of like, oh, I did this for a month, why aren't things happening? Or I did this for a week, why aren't things happening? Um, and I feel like that's something to just express and then release. I feel like you're being very calm about your emotions, but don't be afraid to express what you feel like you need to express, and especially joy about new ideas, new sort of areas of transformation. And I think that's all I'm going to leave you with. Recognize these patterns, find your rhythm, understand that it doesn't matter where you start as long as you follow the order of things, and really just keep going. Keep going. You have a lot of powerful sort of manifestation energy here. But like the sword's energy is, that's very much energy that's all air energy here. So you have ideas that are all up in the head and now need to be really put into action. Put into action with your own confidence and assurance that you can do this. And that is all I have for you, Group 1. Thank you for letting me read your cards. If you want to get a free reading from me at all, on Twitch every Tuesday, mainly Tuesdays. Sometimes I'll throw in other days if I feel like it, but mainly every Tuesday we do a Tarot Tuesday on Twitch. You get free one-card reads, but also you are welcome to purchase a reading, and the best sort of like bang for your buck if you want to purchase a reading is all of my Twitch subscribers get a 6-card read with their Twitch sub, and there are more details on that on my website if you want to go check it out. So thank you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. All right, Group 2, you got Transmutation and Hexagon. Surprised that 2 came out for you. I usually will just take 1, but hey, if 2 is meant to come out, it is meant to come out. I love the synchronicity of it being 43 and 44, kind of almost going backwards here. So, big just thing I can already tell here is that you have a lot of transmuting that I feel like you are doing just collectively. Like everything that comes your way, you're transmuting, whether it be good, bad, mediocre, plain, boring. There's all of this transmutation energy that I feel like is encompassing almost everything, so like almost every single thing that you do. Now I have to double check. I think transmutation. Sorry. I think transmutation has a reversed meaning. Oh, nope. I was actually, my gut was telling me, what my gut was telling me was that there's no reversed meaning, and I was right. There's no reversed aspect for this card. And then, what about for the hexagon? Okay. Since the numbers are kind of backwards, we're going to read backwards. Because with the hexagon, I do have to reference the book because I always seem to forget the hexagon. I've seen it a bunch, but I always fucking forget it. And excuse my French, but also let's get into what the book has to say. Really quick before I start, because I think the last thought I want to get out is not only is this transmutation energy super important, but I feel like it's playing out into how you live your life, how you love life, how you really encompass this energy of there's so much to offer and this world has so much to offer. I feel like is the big like understanding in it all. And I feel like it's hard for you to grasp like, why do we feel good when there's all this chaos going on in the world? And this was the energy of the eclipse too, because I feel like there's a lot of good feelings to the people who are truly just understanding who they are and who they're meant to be. This is very, very intriguing to the eclipse that happened recently, because I'm filming this on March 5th, 2026, just to let you all know. And there's a lot of energy with that eclipse that has been, while it's kind of been summarized to like, while the world is changing around us, we are changing ourselves personally and internally, and really truly removing like tons of limitations that have been attached to us over the years, and we've attached to ourselves over the years. And I feel like this is where this constant transmutation energy has been coming in, because you don't want anything messing up your energy right now. I feel like that is the big thing that you're really taking care of here. So, getting on to the hexagon, beauty and perfection. The six-sided geometry of the hexagon speaks of structure, function, order. We will find it in the beauty of crystals, the perfection of snowflakes, and the symmetry of beehives. Beauty surrounds you. This card suggests that you focus on that beauty and seek ways to bring it more consciously into your life. Most lives are filled and overflowing with places to go, people to see. Sometimes our busyness, we forget to notice the beauty that surrounds us everywhere on the planet. Perhaps a walk in the woods is in order. Move deliberately, allowing all your senses to become aware of the perfection that surrounds you in nature. Listen to the birds, smell the scents of the forest. This may be the perfect day to gather your family for a visit to the art museum. Perhaps you will want to stop at a florist and bring flowers home to cheer and calm the air, or purchase a crystal and place it where you will notice it every day to remind you, in your fast-paced life, to take time to appreciate its beauty and perfection. Walk in beauty. Now, transmutation, dynamic change. This card reflects multiples of six-sided geometry. It is space, power, time transmuted by consciousness. Represented energy forms fire and lightning, nuclear and solar, all active and dynamic, but transmuting form into something very new. Pulling this card suggests that there's a dynamic change at work in your life. This change is beyond what you have experienced before, and promises to transmute the very core of your being into someone you may not recognize from your present perspective. When time and space are viewed as holographic rather than linear, or as in the Hopi tradition, as a river on which one can travel forward and backward, it becomes clear that any event has more than one possible outcome. Quantum physics tells us that the observer affects the outcome of the experiment. Metaphysical thought further suggests that by our intentions, we create our own future. All views indicate that we as individuals have an effect on the holographic nature of reality. Once you realize and learn to utilize this function of intention, you have a responsibility for not only the consequences of your behavior, but also the consequences of your thoughts. Know that you are a very powerful being of intention. Pay attention to all your thoughts and transmute the ones that trouble you or cause fear. By transmuting fear, we are helping to usher in unity consciousness, heart connection, and compassion. Need I say more? Need I say more? I literally just said all of this, like pretty much most of this, right before this reading. So, 3:33 on the dot, we're going to get into it's 3:33 p.m. for me. Oh, now it's 3:34. Excuse me while I have some of my coffee. I want to get right into this read, but also I am very, very glad that you guys are really putting in a lot of power and effort into this, because not only are these things that you're transmuting, like it said, transmuting the things that trouble you and the things that you fear, but you're transmuting stuff in a way that's like you're taking everything in. You're transmuting everything into knowledge, regardless of it being good or bad. Like, if you stop and smell the roses, you're transmuting that into knowledge to enjoy that moment in life, to feel in the moment, be in the moment. And I feel like if this is going to be any connection to the last reading, which I just realized in group one had the flower of life, and that is literally the symbol for the flower of life right in there. That's part of the circles. Very, very interesting. I feel like we're going to get into a lot of what necessarily needs to be done in order to fully transmute something, not that you fear, but it's almost like I feel like it could just be fear in general of like being nervous of like, why do I feel good at like such a bad time in the like in your life, or just in life in general, with like what's happening in the world around us or in the world around you whenever you're watching this. So I feel like there's always a way to kind of take note of like, hey, there's a lot on the mind, there's a lot to dismantle on the surface, but there's also a lot to acknowledge and even just, I feel like, plain and simple entertain, not on the surface, in the roots of things. And this is where I feel like it gets very complex of like what you're transmuting that troubles you, because I feel like you're just transmuting a lot of fear of what could be from like group one of like fear of getting started on things, but also it's not just like the fear of getting started. I feel like you fear how much happiness and joy you can bring into your life when you do transmute these energies. And maybe we're going to get into a lot of like, you weren't allowed to feel that joy. You always had that rug pulled underneath you. You're always like waiting for the ball to drop or the shoe to drop, whatever the phrase is. And this is something that's really interesting and intriguing, and I feel like you kind of feel like anxiety stir in you, and you're having this question of like, is this like a good anxiety of like, I'm so excited that just my heart's beating fast, or am I nervous that this is going to get taken away from me because of things that happen in our past that get taken away from us. And especially when it comes to like healing, a lot of people who are not on your side will be quick to be like, oh, you're not healed, you didn't fix this specific thing, which in translation is, you didn't do it how I wanted you to do it, you didn't become the person I wanted you to become, so I'm going to say that you failed and don't deserve any happiness. And to that, you're transmuting that in, I feel like, a very friendly way of like, you know what, if they don't want to see your success, then they're not going to eat at your table, they're not even invited to your house, kind of a deal. Like, they can eat when they're ready to acknowledge their own faults in life, their own shortcomings, I guess you could say, that were caused by them, their own sort of karma. When they're ready to really have that conversation or just be truthful and honest, you want to be able to maybe even recognize how they could live in the moment too. And I feel like we're going to get into the topic of just like past people, past things, situationships. I say situationships with very like grain of salt, but Queen of Swords, hello. I feel like if anything has to do with past situationships or like exes and stuff, there's always energy from like really toxic people that's like, oh, you're nothing without me, like you can never be better than where you're at with me, which is insanely toxic to just say to someone, right? But I feel like you're at this moment where, before I look at that card, you're at this moment where you feel like you transmuting all of this energy is really getting you to see your power, your strength. And if this is relating anything to group one, this is your power and your strength to put in the effort for yourself. Ooh. Well, I feel like this is kind of talking about past people being like, you could never, blah, 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 like being harsh and blunt. This is still you also kind of not necessarily reflecting their energy, but sort of reflecting that harshness back in the sense of like, okay, well, if you're gonna say all this and take away my success right as I get it, you're not invited to the party, you're not invited to eat at my table. And hell, whatever room the table is in, you're not even allowed into the room. Like, Queen of Swords, using that sword to kind of cut off that energy, even if you still have to like interact with them as like a coworker, like if it's like a nasty coworker that you still have to interact with, you're just like, nope, all right, I'm stonewalling all of their bullshit. Like, when we deal with truly toxic people, sometimes giving them no reaction is just gonna like make them fall apart at the seams. Because any sort of manipulative person, if you're just quiet and just letting them yap and being like, all right, are you done? I have to go get some work done. Uh, they're gonna try everything to try and get at you and get under your skin. And that is very, very telling in the grand scheme of things here. It shows that they don't have sort of uh, any sort of emotional intelligence to be like, hey, people are looking at me sideways and it's probably because I'm acting like a total dick. And whether they think that that's cool is just being a dick, there's always this essence of like, if this is a coworker situation, they're being really nasty, really rude, like that behavior is going to show to the boss or to higher ups, and they're just kind of asking to get their ass handed to them at the end of the day. So while they're all focused on trying to get back at you and you're constantly just like focused on your work, just doing your thing, oh, they're gonna slip up for sure. There's an energy here that's like, if they keep trying to find ways to like get under your skin, they're not gonna focus, they're spending all that energy on you and not on their work. So they're gonna fall behind, they're gonna lag behind in some case, or some way, somehow. I have this like really, in the grand scheme of things, feeling they're going to slip up very, very easily. And it's very, very intriguing to how this is playing out, because you're just here minding your own business, understanding your own heart, your own soul, your own mind, and everything that kind of has collectively come to this point. Like the Hermit card, I feel like one big thing that we kind of forget to talk about the Hermit card is that the things that we look at and just are very introspective on, and the whole idea of introspection has a lot to do with memories. Memories build, mold, and shape us as who we are. But sometimes when they get really, really bad and really traumatic, we can't let them define who we are and who we want to be and who we feel like we're meant to be. And I feel like this is you really taking that journey of like, this is a part of me that made me stronger. And it is kind of cliche to say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but it kind of feels very powerful here. Like you're not letting it mold and shape you into something weak and fragile. You're allowing it to mold and shape you into something that you can be stronger with at the end of the day, be stronger of. And I think with this Hermit, not only are you learning a lot here, but everything that you're learning, every little fear, doubt, anxiety, insecurity that you're coming across with is being transmuted as you're looking at it. And maybe you're even sort of taking a moment to enjoy the beauty of that feeling of transmutation when you're like, I really feel like this is transmuting in my heart. This is really transforming into something new, something bigger than myself here. You've allowed yourself to really see who you are at the end of the day when you are standing in your power, when you're standing at your strongest. And listen, we're not going to be our strongest every single fucking day, but there is a lot of effort that gets put into place to be our strongest every single day. Justice reversed. I'm actually really interested in why it's coming out reverse here, but also like, I feel like it wanted to come out upright, but I think it flipped that way. And this is, ooh, okay, this is very intriguing. What's on the bottom of the deck right now? 6 of coins. We have Justice and the Hangman here. I'm just going to kind of reference 6 of coins. I want to take a moment. A, I need to light some more incense. And B, there's a lot of very interesting energy with this Justice card. I feel like you are on the precipice of truly understanding who you are at the end of the day. And not just like where your strength lies, but where your energy not only like functions well, but works best. Like this is almost dismantling the whole scale that the Justice card usually holds dismantling that whole scale in order to rebuild it again, rebuild it brand new. It's almost like you're reframing what balance is, what true ebb and flow, and like, I guess you could say perfection really is, because perfection isn't about things being all happy, sunshine, rainbows, what's the white person thing that they say, hunky dory? I think that's a white person thing to say. I am pretty sure that's just like either like an old person thing to say, like hunky dory, or it just sounds very like white. I don't know why. Listen, I'm a white girl, so I I know how we get. I know how us white people, how cringy we can get. But to get back to the reading here, sorry. Oh god, I make myself laugh. All right. I'm gonna wait for this little bit to cool down here. I'm gonna be able to like, it's all warm. Okay. You are really redefining this passion, redefining this understanding, and I think it has a lot to do with just what you have experienced. And just, we're gonna say experienced. Past, present, future. Experienced. Past life, even. You have a grand idea, and it's a new idea of how balance truly functions. And I think this is kind of similar to when we, as spiritual people, when we truly understand how karma functions. Karma is going to work in very different ways. And also, it doesn't always work how we think it's going to work. Like, sometimes we think karma is going to like put a bad person in jail, but in reality what happens is like maybe that bad person who's done bad things is constantly getting like speeding tickets, or is like constantly stubbing their toe, spilling their drink, and getting their orders wrong. Like, there's so many different little ways that karma will work out, and I think you're seeing this in sort of the grand scheme of like, okay, if I do these little things over time, there's going to be big changes. And I think this is in your perspective. You're understanding the true give and take of the universe here, with the fact that there is the Six of Coins kind of coming out here. And the Hangman card is really this like, sometimes the Hangman, like the process of the Hangman energy and the journey, in the Fool's journey, when it gets to the Hangman card, the journey of the Hangman, there's always this moment of like that epiphany, that realization of perspective that is gained. And I feel like you really truly understand something fully, and you're almost sort of like, there's a moment with this Hangman energy where the Hangman is just fully embodied. It fully embodies this perspective. It's almost like when they have their epiphany and you have your epiphany, there's like this glow that comes from them, and they almost sort of seem like their whole body just glows. It is almost like that light bulb of like ding, but it's almost this like I see it almost as like a level up sort of thing. And this energy is really interesting because it's like, when we fully gain power in like a video game, there's always that little like flash or twinkle or whatever. I feel like you kind of understand what I'm talking about. Or like if you've ever played Sims and you've seen them like go through one of their skills or hobbies, like if you have them painting a bunch and they'll constantly like paint all of this, they'll consistently, like, you can keep them consistently painting and they'll level up that skill, and there's that little like progress bar, and that like once it becomes really full, it's just like it like dings and it's like, oh my god, like the skill level is full, let's go to the next level, or it's maxed out. I feel like it's that completing a level and moving on to the next one. But you are in this moment of like fully appreciating your progress, of this new perspective that you've gained and understanding that you've gained. So it's kind of like you're feeling all of it all at once. And that's just what I was saying. You're transmuting all of this. You're transmuting all of this good energy into something knowledgeable, into understanding, oh, now I get it. Now I get the double meaning here. Understanding what wasn't working, what wasn't balanced. You're really fully embodying this understanding to let yourself come down from this hangman tree and really walk forward and move forward into your life. And I want to see what else there is for you, group 2. Let's see what other cards want to come out and show face here. 2 of Wands. Yeah, come down off that hangman tree and really start making a plan. 2 of Wands is really all about making that plan here, and making a plan that actually not only works, but something that you feel like you can walk confidently in. And I think this is just the beginning of your plans. Like, this transmuting thing has just been like the first step, because I feel like you have consciously been aware of working with like this divine timing, and you're like, I'll know what to do once I get there kind of energy. And I feel like this is where not only are you embodying this plan, but it's also like, even if there is no plan, you're still going to walk with confidence, walk with this energy of like, okay, well, we have resources, like, let's use them. Page of Swords. Okay, 2 things. I feel like people are going to be looking back on you, like these toxic people being like, oh yeah, fucking right. Oh my god, I see this as like, yeah, right, sure, group 2, yeah, whatever, they think that they know everything type fucking attitude, right? And right as they're thinking that, I was so focused on this wind, and I could just imagine them like the wind blowing the wrong way or like too strongly, and they're not ready for it because they're constantly like focused on you and your energy, and then they slip and fall off this little hill, cliff, whatever it may be. And then here you are on the same cliff, embodying strength, embodying, I want to say, I want to say the word perfection, but it's perfection that isn't perfect. Imperfect perfection. Because you have a mentality, you have an idea that you want to move forward with, and a plan at hand here, and you're not going to let anyone stop you. And not even the wind. The wind is just a moment for you to take a breath in, to breathe with the energies of the earth, to transmute that energy physically or like metaphysically. I feel like this is a very, very big like double meaning card of like, this is someone else and you at the same time, of like, right when someone else is focusing on you, they slip up so much. But you going through the same winds as them. This is why I was kind of thinking this could be a coworker situation for some of you. You going through the same chaotic stuff that everyone's going through at the job, and you're standing strong, standing on your own 2 feet, and this other person is slipping all over the place. Even if you don't know what the plan is in the future or what to plan for in the future, you're still going to be prepared. You have resources to use. You have materials and resources in your arsenal to really tackle these things as they come about. I dropped like basically a quarter of the deck right there, so it is not the reading. Let's get some more cards out here for group 2. I'm very curious of what else they need to hear for their highest good that fell in my lap. 5 of Coins, that came out for the for group 1 as well also. I think there's a helicopter going overhead right now. Oh, it was actually pretty far away. Oh. I don't know if you could hear that sound. Wheel of Fortune. You have broken out of this feeling of stagnancy that anyone that has ever done you wrong now feels this stagnancy, now feels this imbalance, feels like that life is just throwing them in so many different directions, so many different left turns, and then here you are thriving. Four of Wands. Alrighty, let's kind of slide some of these over. Just put, no way. We had the Ace of Swords come out for group 1 as well, and the Death card. That is really, really intriguing. Okay, alright. So to get into the cards, we have 5 of Coins, Wheel of Fortune reversed, 2 of Coins reversed, Death, and 4 of Wands. While all of this is happening that you're releasing and really not like doing this unfavorable dance with life of like we have to move in this way to have balance and perfection, I feel like you've really moved with the ebb and flow of life and understanding of yourself to really embody what true balance and dancing with life itself really feels like. It shouldn't feel like a chore, it should feel like something you enjoy. And the more people try and focus on you and bring you down, tear you down, the more lack, stagnancy, and effect it's gonna have on them. Like the Wheel of Fortune feels like they're spinning around on this wheel trying so hard to hold on to this idea when in reality they just need to accept that they're putting way too much time and energy into things that just don't matter. And I feel like this is something that you are either seeing or will start to see. Oh, excuse me. And with the Death card here and the 4 of Wands, you're transforming. You're transforming into somebody brand new, but you're still bringing parts of you with you. The 4 of Wands isn't just about building something that's like stable and happiness. This is like cornerstones of stability. These are things that are like the pillars of truth, authenticity, honesty, and whatever the 4th one may be for you. You could even say beauty. Beauty in the love of life, the love of being able to pursue these paths, this path in front of you, with a whole brand new mentality here. And like I said, you have a new idea at hand with the sword, and the Ace of Swords came out on the bottom of the deck. I don't know what kind of sign you need, but I think you have been the sign for yourself for a very long time. And I think the big part about it that you really need to understand here is the more you focus on yourself, the more you will transform, the more you will transmute, and the more that you will be able to fully bring into your life. Because usually when we transmute all of this icky energy, like all of the negativity, internally or externally, when we transmute that, we leave a bunch of room for a lot of the good stuff to come in. So anything that you are transmuting, fear, anger, doubt, anxiety, when that leaves your heart, leaves your soul, leaves your energy, you have opened up space for really anything. Could be the knowledge that you're gaining, it could be new opportunities, or just new paths that open for you. And I feel like you are almost feeling a moment of like celebration that you've been able to hold this structure in this like order to, I want to say, like the standard. Like I feel like you are setting the standard for a lot of things here, and just a lot of your energy, setting your own standard for yourself. Because the balance didn't always look like how it looked like here. And I think that's all I'm going to leave you with. So thank you for letting me read your cards. That is all I have for you. If you want a free card reading on Twitch, every Tuesday we do a Tarot Tuesday on Twitch where you get free 1-card reads. You can also pay to get more cards, or if you subscribe with a Twitch sub, you can get a 6-card reading with your Twitch sub. And there's more information on that on my website, so feel free to check it out. But as always, I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye! Alright, group 3, you chose the Steam Cave, which is, I believe, talks a lot about transmutation as well, but it's almost kind of like sitting in the heart of something, and it's almost interpreted as sitting in this warm womb of earth in like an actual steam cave. I'm gonna read from the book because I forget if this one has a reversed meaning or not. I'm not sure it does, but I think, oh, it does. Okay. Whew. Hold on, I almost had to sneeze. Whew. Okay. So, one thing about this card, especially with the reversed meanings in the book, don't take the reversed meanings entirely to heart, because there could be other interpretations for like what they're trying to say that really more or less resonate for you. The key word here is elemental forces. Now, I feel called to kind of just almost read this whole thing, but I'm really going to just start from the reversed energy, and then I feel like we'll read this whole thing here. Actually, no, we'll just start from the beginning. The Steam Cave, Elemental Forces. This card speaks of connecting with elemental forces. The geometry here is of triangles and star tetrahedrons. The illustration was inspired by a hot spring steam cave in which the bather sits in medicinal waters inside the earth and listens to the pulse of the planet as the springs ebb and flow and gurgle. There's a womb-like feeling in this cave in the earth, where the fire heats the water into steam. You know how this feels deep in your bones, though you may never have experienced it. Coming from a primal place in our cellular memory, this feeling holds the power of the elements and speaks directly to the relationship all humans have with those elements, and with Mother Earth. Many traditions call in the elements as they begin sacred ceremony. In doing so, a deeper connection is established between the material world and the world of spirit. This card reminds you to honor your relationship to the earth and elemental forces, and to ground yourself in the knowing that wherever you go, you are always home. Try reconstructing an elemental altar, placing photographs or art representing the elements somewhere where you will see them regularly. Find a way to honor the earth and her elemental forces in whatever way feels appropriate to you. Now, the reversed meaning. You have been at odds with loved ones or colleagues and are in need of the wisdom of earth energies and elemental forces. Call in earth, air, fire, and water and see what that feels like in your body. Realize that the ones that you're at odds with are also of this earthly home. Take a fresh look at your situation and communicate from your heart. Now, I feel like if you are connecting any of these past readings to group 3, we are heavily going to get into the just getting started on things that we need to work on to reconnect to ourselves, to find our spark again, to move forward and where we want to move forward, is going to take connecting with the earth. Connecting with the earth, grounding ourselves, meditating, whatever truly makes you feel at home in your own heart here. This is going to be a very intriguing reading because I feel like a lot of you are just kind of now realizing how spiritual you really are, and how it really does affect you when you are connecting with the earth, connecting just in the sense of grounding with the elements, grounding yourself into your practice. You're out. I scratched my my chair and it hurt my nail a bit. I was trying to pull it forward so I could sit up closer to the desk. You're really grounding yourself here, grounding your intention into what you do and how you exert energy. And even if you're not sort of feeling of this energy, feeling like you can sort of tackle on today's like tasks or your daily duties, if you want to call it that, you're really getting connected with like, hey, I think I need to treat like getting up in the morning with a little more spiritual parts to the day, or maybe towards the end of the day finding time to wind down. I feel like meditation is going to be very helpful for some of you, and whatever that meditation is, I feel like incorporate the elements somehow. If you need to burn a stick of incense and just sit with it and watch the smoke and feel the energy of this incense, do that. That is the element of air. I feel like we gotta start with air, then start with fire. Start with air, fire, water, and earth. Find each little element that you can connect to in your daily life, and I feel like you're gonna have not only a grander sense of intellect here, but I feel like you're really going to grow into something that you may not fully realize what you're getting into. I feel like you have a lot of internal things planned. Alright, sorry for the interruption. I'm probably going to just leave that in the recording because I wasn't gone too long here. But okay. The Ace of Pentacles and Three of Cups coming out here is like you are really getting into things that I don't even think you really fully realize that you're manifesting here. And it's almost like this a culmination of underneath the surface, you're unconsciously bringing in these past, present, future energies of yourself and creating a whole brand new way of transforming into someone new. Like you are tapping into this sort of mastery skill that you have and almost using it to its fullest potential here. And I feel like it's almost like you don't even care about like the end goal, the results, the outcome, because you just kind of want to feel more connected in the moment to whatever it is that you're working on or like pursuing. And this is something really interesting that I also feel like a lot of your guides, spirit guides, deities, ancestors, spirit team, source, universe, whoever, I feel like there's a lot of spirit guides and or ancestors that are really kind of guiding this guiding this energy, because you are very much doing this like subconsciously. That's why I feel like these are in reverse here. It's very intriguing to see because it's also very powerful. And I feel like you're feeling the power of it. You're feeling the energy of it when you're sort of in your elements, per se, in your own personal element, like whatever you pursue, whatever is your hobby, your favorite thing, or just when you're within the elements of earth, air, fire, or water. And if you are a water sign plainly, like you don't just take things away, like how the shores can erode and become sandy. It's not just about like dissolving everything. You allow things to grow. Water signs and the water element allows for growth. Because while water can be very destructive in very different ways, very dark and mysterious, and almost like this void of I just keep thinking of like the deep parts of the ocean. Like there's these deeper parts that are like undiscovered about water elements. But water gives life, and water gives life through a lot of memory here, a lot of different parts of, hey, we're going to rest with this idea and almost sort of float in the oceans of this idea in order to actively create something out of it. And you create something out of the memory of the idea, and even just for the memories of the past of like, I wanted to do this so long ago and now I'm doing it now. And I feel like you are gaining a lot of power for yourself with this, and even just connecting to the elements can make you feel powerful in order to pursue things that you're trying to be very disciplined about pursuing. And all while underneath you're creating this Ace of Pentacles, Three of Cups energy, which is really just like on the back burner. Like I don't see this as like any negativity here. It's just on the back burner. It's reversed because it's not happening in like real life yet, basically. But you have a whole new just like chapter of your life that's brewing, and I feel like you're really honing in on connecting and grounding yourself with these elements here. And it's providing a lot of certainty, assurance, and also reassurance here. Eight of Pentacles, like you just have your head in a book, you are focused on your work, you have a lot of life that you're giving into these ideas, like the fact that the steam cave talks about water, and there's tons of earth energy here with the pentacles. You're allowing your own water to water your garden, to water the earth of your own garden, to pursue this work with not just gratitude and passion, but with determination, honesty, and just like authenticity. We have Queen of Swords reversed, so we have the King and Queen. We have duality happening here, dualistic parts of our emotional self and physical self. And with the Queen of Swords being in reversed, I feel like you're kind of being a little quiet about the work that you're doing. But there's nothing wrong with being cutthroat about it, of like, hey, I need to do this in order to get this thing done. And if people are like, oh, you work too much, or you should just like come out and relax, come out for a Friday night, you don't have to stay in. It's like, I feel like it's like, no, like I'm gonna stay in because I'm actually going to take a nap, get my energy right, meditate a little bit, and then get back to work. And this is where I feel like if you feel a little uncertain about the opportunities that could be manifesting for you, you're the one that's manifesting this energy. You're the one that's actually actively pursuing what could be known to you as what I want to say, like what could be known to you as true manifestation. Actively putting in work, seeing opportunity manifest off of the work that you've been putting in. And this isn't just going to like going and applying for jobs. This is like keeping your head in your work. And like, let's say you're an artist and you're drawing something and you animate a little bit too. Like, let's say you're an animator as well. There has been so many people to get picked up by like this one particular music artist, Baby No Money. This is a very silly example, but I also feel like it kind of fits, of like people are just animating their stuff, just putting it out there, and Baby No Money is commissioning them to do work for him, and that is making them very, very successful. So it's just could just be you doing your thing, and you never know who's going to see that effort, who's going to see that work here. Oh my god, we have almost all of the elements out here in Queen's energy. We have the Queen of Swords, Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups. Your internal energy is so potent and powerful, and I feel like this is going to be something that you're really trying to understand and gain wisdom on, because you're like, how am I so powerful and good at this particular thing? And I feel like this is sort of slightly overwhelming you, but it's overwhelming you with how much that you yourself are filling up your cup. You have pursued this very quiet, masterful path for yourself. You've created like just all these different things out of nothing, it looks like. And every time that you're working on something new, people are curious about it, but they don't want to ask you, because if they bother you, then that almost ruins the creativity that comes out of it, right? Like, you want to be honest in what you are creating, but at the same time, like, you have to keep focused on that, on those things that you're creating, and almost kind of keep them a bit quiet. Otherwise they're not going to have that much magic to them in a way. And I feel like this can reflect into just actual magical practice, like spellcraft. Like, if you're someone who gets into that stuff, not telling people like what your spell like entirely does or did can help a lot with the manifestation power. And I feel like this is like genuinely understanding true manifestation. Like, you understand, okay, we have to find our way to get started, and once we get started, we have to connect with the elements and ground ourselves in the elements to get started. But the effort in all of that is for this true higher purpose of manifestation. And whatever that could be you're manifesting, you're really locking down this understanding of, like, when you are connected with all these parts of yourself, when you ground yourself in all of the elements available to you, you genuinely feel like you could create anything. And that is a very powerful energy to have when you are pursuing your work. And this is very interesting that we have fire and water kind of coming out side by side here, because you're very, very introspective on a lot of this interconnected energy kind of fusing into something brand new, fusing into something like whole, like these two sides of you fusing together to create this abundant level of manifestation. And it's not like, oh, these things just happen overnight. Like, these things happen because you put work into them, and now it makes you even more adamant to do the work outside of yourself and internally as well, in order to bring things into reality. This Hermit card is very, very brief, but I feel like you are kind of quiet about things in this Queen of Swords because you're having a lot of introspective moments here. And you maybe want to go out and hang out with friends, but it's like you understand the importance of this work. And when that important work is done with, you'll have the time to hang out. But this is where discipline really becomes like your best friend. And you understand the power in not fully knowing what lies ahead. Not fully understanding, hey, I don't know what's going to come out of this work, but it's going to be worth it. And the only way for you to feel comfortable in the unknown is to step into it and to embody this unknown and to work with it, to work with the tools that you have at hand. The High Priestess out here. Last card. Let's go. Now, let's get a jumper, please. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. We have two tens here, 10 of Wands and 10 of Swords. Now, 10 of Swords, when it's upright in this deck, I see it very differently than I do in others, just by the pure energy that kind of comes off this card. This 10 of Swords is a big, big level of transmutation and transformation. And it's because when we shed a lot of the weight and a lot of the burden, a lot of the times when we do that, it is us making our mark and saying, no, we have to be disciplined about this, we have to do this to ground ourselves, we have to connect to this element. We are putting these wands almost as stakes in the ground, so we're not carrying them on our shoulders anymore. We're not holding on to that weight. And in doing that, you have reached a brand new level of introspection that I feel like is where the star kind of sparks in this Hermit's lantern, because you're shining light on the fact that you've healed, not just in a very minor way. You've healed so much internally that you have implemented every single possibility and possible path for yourself. I almost even see the fact that the moons are here. Usually this could mean, like, I see this as like triple goddess, any sort of triple goddess, god, deity. Hecate is usually seen as the triple goddess because of the crossroads, but that aspect with Hecate really describes past, present, and future crossroads, past, present, and future liminal spaces. So I kind of see this as you embodying the understanding of your past, present, and where your future self could go, and allowing yourself to connect to the life that is meant for you, to the you that is meant to show yourself and to show itself. You have really and greatly and powerfully transmuted your soul into something brand new, and it didn't happen without you going through some shit, to put it plainly. But getting through all of this and understanding why each and everything may have, like, these things held you back, only pushes you forward to do more, only pushes you forward to create more, to understand more. And I feel like this is where it's really, really embodying and fueling your soul into a whole new level. And that's why I feel like you're kind of a little nervous and shy about it, but it's like, it feels too good to ignore. And not just good in like that I feel happy. It feels good because you feel like you are most yourself. When you are grounded with all of these elements and grounded into your own personal element of like whatever craft hobby path that you're on, and the sense of comfortability you have in the unknown is unprecedented right now. Like, it feels so surreal, but also feels insanely real at the same time, insanely tangible. And I think that's the thing. You have to make these energies a bit more tangible to you. Go into those meditative spaces and places, call in those elements however you need, connect with those elements, connect with nature however you can, and really just connect with nature as if you were connecting to yourself. We are all a bit of cosmic stardust at the end of the day. You, me, that tree outside, we're all a little bit of that cosmic stardust. Connect to that universal feeling, to connect to your path even greater, better, and brighter in the future here. So, that is all I have for you. Thank you for letting me read your cards. And as I said at the end of the other groups, if you weren't watching those groups and if you just missed it, if you want a free tarot read, I offer free tarot readings on my Twitch every Tuesday. We do Tarot Tuesday on Twitch, where I offer free one-card reads. I can tell you a lot with one card, trust me. And also, there's a way to pay for just more cards, but the best bang for your buck is going to be subscribing to my Twitch channel. Every Twitch sub gets a 6-card reading, and there's more info on that on my website. So be sure to check it out if you're interested. But thank you for listening, and I am really, really grateful I got to read this reading. I'm very, very grateful that you stayed around and listened, and I wish you all of the best, and I am so proud of you. So thank you for letting me read your cards. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!